books lower than a 3, you are the ass.
You know what I find really funny? Their username is future New York Times bestselling author. It's really easy to be a bestselling author when you don't allow for legitimate reviews. Really easy to be a bestselling author when you refuse to allow any reviews under 3 stars. Just saying. The reason we have a 1 to 5 star system is so that people can give their honest opinions. Do we get trolls once in a while? I had a friend who released a book on the paranormal, and somebody bought the book off of Amazon, verified purchase, left a 2-star review that just said, ghosts aren't real. Then why'd you buy the book? So, I mean, yeah, they're going to be trolls, but you know what? Art is subjective. Sometimes you just got to grow a thicker skin. But for the most part, a lot of times reviews are more there for fellow readers than they even are for the authors. It's just like the last video that I was talking about. I know it's a long one, but go back and watch it. I had found this book on Facebook. It was, the author had the sponsored ad for it, and it sounded really cute. And from the beginning to the first epilogue, it actually was spicy, but it was the right amount of spicy, and it was a cute book. I really liked it. It was a good romance. But the last epilogue, where the antagonist got her comeuppance, got so dark. And it got so vile and so disgusting, and the theme was grape. And it was not something that I normally would have purchased had I known about it. And it didn't fit the theme of the rest of the book. I mean, the rest of the book was a happy, cute, hallmarky kind of romance. This was more like a dark romance, like a Haunted Adeline kind of thing. And there was no warning. There was no trigger warnings. There was nothing. Had I read the Amazon reviews, I would have known about it, and I would have avoided the book altogether. But the author dropped the ball because, again, the theme of the book didn't match the epilogue. The epilogue almost seemed like it was an afterthought, like she had some kind of a vendetta against the character, like maybe the character was like a real life person she knew and just wanted, maybe she had a vendetta against this person and wanted to just put as much harm on this person as possible. I don't know what it was, but it was just something that was so vile that it like played in my head for a while, and I didn't like it at all. And had I known about it by reading the reviews, I never would have purchased the book. And that's what reviews do. Reading the reviews, like peer-to-peer, would have warned me about that. Reviews will warn you about trigger warnings. Reviews will tell you about grammatical errors, continuity errors. It'll basically tell you about the book. Now, I have seen 5-star reviews and read the book, and turns out that for me, it would have been 1 to 3 stars at best. I've read books where the book had gotten 2 stars, and I'm like, what the heck is wrong? This is a 5-star book. This is like a 5-star should be made into a motion picture book. So reviews are guides. They are guides. So if you read a book premise and you're like, this sounds really good, but it's not getting great reviews, read it anyway. Take a chance. Reviews are just guides. So if it still piques your interest, whether or not it's getting good reviews, read it. If it's piquing your interest, read it, because you might be surprised to find out that maybe you like it even though other people don't, because art is subjective. Now, when it comes to actually leaving reviews, now, I'm one of those who rarely leave a review if it's under 3 stars. Very rarely. But I have done it. But I'm one of these people where I believe bad reviews can be done in a positive way. And this is what I mean. Here's one of the very few 2-star reviews I have left. Now, when I leave any review, but definitely a review that's 3 stars or under, I always go point by point why I am leaving such a low review. And this one, I think, had 6 points. For example, one of the points, point number 2, the main conflict of the entire book was that there was a blackmail deal going on. Well, in this blackmail conflict, it was so quickly resolved, I don't even think it made it like half the book. It was supposed to be the main conflict of the entire book, but it didn't even last half the book. But it was so quickly resolved that you wonder why it was even the plot point. There was no real nitty-gritty. The blackmailers never followed through with any of the threats. They never came face-to-face with the victims. There was one letter, one email, then boom, they knew exactly who it was, and it was handled off camera, so to speak. There was no real risk to anybody. There was no real mystery, and it was all quickly tidied up. Another issue was that the male and female main characters, they had intimacy twice, and they met each other like, I think, 3 times in the office, and it was just like a yo. There was no romance, but yet they fell madly in love and got married at the very end of the book. So I went through those points to say this is why I could only give it this many stars. But at the very end of my review, I left it on a positive note. I said, regardless of how I felt about these points, I thought the premise was there. It was so close to being there. If the author would have done this, and this, or maybe changed this, even just a little tweaking, this could have been a brilliant book. If they wanted to release it again today and just change these few things, this would have been a great book because the premise is there. I always leave a little bit of encouragement for either a future book or maybe even a re-release of the book that they are maybe not doing so well on. Because, again, I want to leave it on a positive note so that something that's not necessarily the best review can still have some positivity to it. And I also want to encourage them to continue writing. Because just because maybe this didn't hit doesn't mean that they won't do really great in the future.